Examine for a moment, when you do have a chance, next time, because I don't have it with me now. Last week's lecture, we gave you a shot of the 17th Street levee. Examine for a moment the canal itself, and then examine the hydrodynamic flow when considering the supposed catastrophe failure at the site that was supposed to have been reinforced. There is a simple question not being asked by the media. We are told in 5th grade science class that water seeks its own level, and that it seeks the path of least resistance. So how does water traveling parallel to the levee walls apply sufficient hydraulic or perpendicular force powerful enough to compromise and then completely overwhelm grade A concrete, especially when the following factors are in effect? 1. There was no storm surge applied to the reinforced grade 1 concrete levee. 2. The hurricane had already passed. And 3. This, beloved brothers and sisters, is an open air canal. Excess water would have just spilled over the sides based on the natural directional flow of the water. It could not, would not have the strength to cause a structural breach at the site of a grade 1 concrete reinforcement. Just something to think about.
Right.
If the hydrodynamics are moving in this direction and the levees are set up in that direction, how do you blow out 200 feet of one side of reinforced concrete that goes at least 15 feet down into the waterbed and then comes up at least 12 feet to 13 feet? They're making the excuse that had this been 15 feet, it would have taken the water surge. No! It was sufficient. If there was any water that would have been overreach, the marshlands would have been able to soak it up. But since we do remember saying last week that we didn't have that much marshland, even with the 35 miles that they did have bordering them, they could have dealt with the pumps that were the backup. No, the whole 200 feet was blown out because, again, as we showed last time, the people spoke about 7 explosions. 7 muffled explosions. Those are underwater charges. I would like to take some time to visually revisit the horror of this manufactured event, to keep it fresh in the minds, lest we be distracted by the media military hype around Hurricane Rita, which will be used as propaganda detergent to scrub the government's stink off of the mass murder charges from its nauseating images. If we give them the chance, these bastards from the roach-infested caves of Europe will spin this crime until the world believes that on August 29th, all the black people of New Orleans committed mass suicide. Yes, the outright lies continue to spew from the mouth of these mannequin maggots who read pre-prepared scripts, especially about actual numbers of the dead, who started the shooting and all the bullshit around the incompetence and ineptitudes of FEMA. This, all of it, in fact, are well-directed, well-produced, well-written, well-orchestrated lies. An exercise in propaganda counterintelligence conducted by way of the Pentagon. Beloved brothers and sisters, if you are to believe one thing and one thing only, believe that FEMA and the governmental response to this vicious and calculated crime was in no way a bumbling display of ineptitude or incompetence. It was mass murder by design. There are numerous reports not nearly given the time and scrutiny they deserve, blacked out by the military media, the state media attesting to the fact that FEMA purposefully stopped, impeded, delayed, harassed, reversed, and all around sabotaged any and all genuine effects and attempts at rescue to assist and or administer to the sick or dying. Members of FEMA's criminal leadership are traitors and murderers whose job it was to make sure that as many people as possible irresponsible were killed. All possessions wiped out to take the land in a massive act of reclamation through eviction, as they have continuously done so with native peoples over the last 200 years.
Break it down.
All talk of rebuilding New Orleans to return the poor and disenfranchised blacks is grade A bullshit, simply because practically all proof that poor peoples may have had pertaining to their claim of ownership to ancestral lands will be considered casualties of Katrina. These poor people will be paid pennies on the dollar in government subsidies for their troubles and told in essence, don't come back. Again, this was a mass eviction, a population displacement and relocation project by corporate maggots like Halliburton using the military as the sheriff. Above all, and most in cities, this was an exercise to get the bugs out of the Rex 84 program.
That's right.
A prelude of things to come for black people, and why I chose to call this offering Death March. By the way, on June 5th, 2005, for all you hackers out there, on the FX channel, previewed a movie called Oil Storms. It examined what happened in America when a Category 6 hurricane hit the Gulf of Mexico, slammed into Louisiana, crushed the city, and crippled the vital pipeline transporting the refined oil. I thought I was being entertained. See, people say, why do you go to movies? Because the motherfuckers keep telling you. That we gonna do y'all niggas now.
Right.
Y'all ready? Now, there are many clues as to the true schemes of the New World Order for the fate of poor black peoples and all other poor peoples around the globe. And one of them may be seen debated in their UN treaties and conventions. This was taken from a 1994 UN pamphlet that I had in my storage. Inside the front cover, it had a bright and bubbly account of some of the agreements the General Assembly had negotiated. Agreements that were supposed to make the world a better and safer place to live. Interestingly enough, the pamphlet listed as a noteworthy accomplishment in 1977 the NMOD Convention. Now, what else happened in 1977? Blackout. And?
The OPEC thing?
Oil embargo?
Yes.
Right. Now, what else was published?
Global 2004.
Global 2000.
Global 2004.
Right, that's true. Global 2000 report.
Oh, yes, yes.
77 year of the snake.
Population control.
Year of the what?
Year of the snake.
There it is. Year of the snake. This was the NMOD Convention. It said 1977, the Convention on the Prohibition of Military or Other Hostile Use of Environmental Modification Technologies. It went on to say that, quote, the convention was held to prohibit the use of technologies that would have widespread, long-lasting, severe effects through deliberate manipulation of natural resources and cause such phenomena as earthquakes, tidal waves, and changes in climate and weather patterns. And even with this blatant confession by the New World Order that their scientists possessed the capabilities to manipulate the weather, even to list some of the capabilities, even to introduce to the Senate of the 109th Congress the Weather Modification Research and Technology Act. That's for people who, think alive. March 3rd, a bill to establish the Weather Modification Operations and Research Board, Senate Bill 517, people in government, and most especially black church Negroes, refused to open their minds to the possibility that this cane cracker can and does now have control the weather.